congratulations. It was truly funny, and you did a really good job, so way to go.
Thank you. Great question. Next.
I'm really glad that Midland, Ontario, it was written where you filmed this, and it was beautiful. Now my question, I also noticed in the credits that Eugene Levy was one of the friends that you sang.
Well, I was very fortunate to have been the Governor General Performing Arts Awards do a mentorship program, and I was somehow chosen for this thing, and they selected me and they paired me with Eugene Levy. And so during the development of the script, he read the script numerous times. He was very generous with his time. He gave, and SCTV when I was growing up, that was for me the best, right? So it's like having him give notes on the script, and he was so smart about it and really helped shape the script. And I think we definitely owe a big debt to him for what this movie became.
Excellent.
Not a financial debt.
No.
The word Woody Allen did come up with one critic. By the way, you guys are on my blog. The word Woody Allen did come up in one critic's voice. I was wondering if Frank Capra or Preston Sturges also came to mind.
Jeez.
Well, I bring him up, but I don't know if anybody else. No, but I think like one of the ideas going into this movie was that it was kind of an old-fashioned story, and the tone was a little old-fashioned, and those are definitely movies that I love. Particularly Preston Sturges, and those movies were movies that we were watching, and shop around the corner. There's a lot of those old screwballs that for me are just great movies that I can watch again and again. So if we caught a little bit of that, feel.
I'm going to say
something that occurred to me during the movie. Actually, Dan, don't let this get to your head, but it totally, like, the town is its own character in the movie, and even just the way people talk to each other. It kind of had, it's like the way you could compare it to Shannon Class if it was a comedy. I feel like if Fargo was like a little lighter, it's like kind of like just a town where things are different from what you're used to, and so I got a sense of that as just this town and what it is to be like, and Lucy coming into the town and being kind of just unsure of how things work. Like when she says, we can't just go knock on every door. It's like, yeah, sure we can. It's a small town. We get to everybody. Stuff like that. So.
Let's pass the mic to Lucy right now. You also have a career outside of Canada, am I correct?
Yeah, that's true. I spent 17 years in the UK. So I went to school there, and then I moved back to Canada a few years ago, and this was my first job.
In Canada?
Yeah, since I moved back, I went to university here, but this was my first job. These are my first new Canadian friends.
Co-workers.
That's right.
People who work friends. Work associates. Okay. You work a fiction, the movie is a work of fiction. If you have,
it is Lucy.
Okay, Lucy. She had to change to Lucy. If you haven't seen a show called Man Stroke Woman, it's a BBC sketch series, single camera sketch series that Meredith is on, as well as what's his name? Nick Frost, the other guy. And
plugging.
Yeah, but I'm saying I watched that show after Meredith and I worked together, and I'm glad I watched it afterwards because I would have been nervous to work with Meredith because it's such a good show and she's so funny on it. So that's all.
Yeah, I think
just work acquaintances.
I find it hard to believe you'd be nervous about anything, actually. How did you discover Meredith and Dennis?
It was actually really fortunate that we had a table reading, we got all these, even before we really cast the movie, and just to kind of hear what it sounded like with actors reading it, and Meredith's name came up, and I wasn't familiar with her work. I went and watched some of her work and just found it hilarious, and the truth is, at that stage, and even later on, Lucy on the page wasn't that funny. I knew it could be. I knew there could be a really funny, strong character there. But when I saw Meredith read the part, she brought so much to it, and as both of these actors did, that it was great. And we just knew from then, and Michael was there, and the producers were there, and we knew right away, like, this is who we need in this part.
Thanks, Dan.
Every time you laughed, that was improvised. Now, they both have, great improvisational backgrounds, and it was just great fun to let them loose on the material.
Yeah, we pretty much stuck to the script, and then we just riffed.
Yeah, when there were little pockets of time, just sort of gaps, like things like where,
like the breakfast
thing and the running breakfast thing, and then just the way you jump on the the part where she's like, maybe next time, and then I take her seriously. She's like, oh, not actually, and then that was all we drove around. Actually, that was just a hilarious day. Like, we got to the thing where Leonard has like he collects umbrellas and just really
But I was like, I don't know. I felt like, how long were we in the car for? Like a half hour?
Or maybe an hour. Maybe an hour just driving around trying to get shots and improvising and adding that element of now that something might have happened with them in their bedroom the night before. How are they different and still trying to drive towards finding out the truth of the story?
Michael, as a producer, you've got these people in a car driving around doing extra takes. Were you ever a little worried about the price tag?
That's a good question. Yeah, and actually early on, Daniel was saying, well, we'll try a little improv here and there. We were kind of scratching our heads, going on a low budget movie. Just you don't want to do any improv, but obviously, we got these fantastically talented actors who really got along well together. And the nice thing is that kind of trickles through to the whole crew, and so the crew was always really kind of anxious to get back on set and laugh. And so it was an amazing, great sort of sense of family when we were making the film in Midland, which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but at the end of the film, there were lots and lots and lots of credits to the Friends of Grand Rock. And what we did was an Indiegogo fundraiser to basically afford to move the whole cast and crew from Toronto to Midland. And we basically moved there for a month and a half, really, shot there for about 3.5 weeks. And as you say, the town really becomes a kind of a character. And so we're really big fans of really kind of getting out of the centers and moving into other towns. Like, planning on coming back to shoot in Sudbury for sure. Absolutely. And Daniel really, works really well with actors. There's a fantastic kind of give and take going on. Everything was very clear about what he wanted. So, weren't sure.
But I'll add, and the whole cast really, everybody kind of, stops. There's a tone that gets set where it's like, we can have some of this freedom, and Ennis did a large part of he was there, every day. He's in almost every scene in the movie. And bringing that energy and that excitement to the set, and then we had just a great cast who everybody was up for just getting to work and having fun doing it. So
that's a good question. This, as you may have heard, was the world premiere right here at Sudbury Campus.
You never take that away from me.
And so we really wanted to kind of gauge the response. This being the first time civilians have seen the movie. And so our intention is to release it initially through the Canadian film circuit, which brings kind of bicycles films around the country. And then ultimately, if that works out, then we'll do a wider release. And that would very likely happen just after Christmas, I think.
Okay, we have one more question. I just want to say, Daniel, you know what? I don't think you're getting enough credit right here. I think you wrote and directed an amazing film, and that's not easy. And you really sort of corralled an amazing cast. So this is your first feature. You did a sort of abbreviated documentary feature at one point and shorts. This is your first feature, and I think you deserve a great deal of credit for the work that's there.
This is the world premiere. It's so exciting. It was great. We're a great house and a great place to have the premiere. And it's it was 5 years in the making, this movie. So it's great to hear people actually laughing and enjoying the movie. It's a real thrill. The whole town of Midland was amazing, and really just open up for the production, and people running around getting stuff if we needed stuff, and just everybody. There was this great feeling in the town every day when we were
Tell about the pothole.
Oh, well, so this was a big thing of how are we going to do the pothole? What do we, there's this pothole, and it was I'd love it to be in front of the barber shop, but if we have to, we'll just find a pothole somewhere and we'll shoot it. There wasn't a single pothole in Midland anywhere. It just didn't exist. They had such good roads there that I don't know what goes on in that town, but it was amazing. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, we were saying in Toronto, every block would be an option, but in Midland, so we were like, I don't know what we're going to do. Are we going to fake it? And then, someone was like, well, we could always ask if they'll just make us a pothole. And it was amazing. It's the next day they were there with the jackhammer, and they were like, where do you want it? How big? Is this good? And it was I was kind of standing there could you just shape it a little more over here? And then we did it, and we shot it. It was that morning, and then by that night they paved it over, and that quick. I think there was just roaming people taking care of potholes over there or something. That was amazing. That's just that's how Midland was to film in. So. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have just a few minutes to go. One thing I did want to ask the crew, cast, director, producer, better films are. I've always loved Canadian films. Better and better films are coming out. We had The F Story. We have Pregoland. We have all these other great comedies coming out. Is there possible now for a star system to start happening in Canada?
You're looking at it right here, these two.
Yeah, I mean, let's go.
These guys are stars, right? So it's like, And I think you're right. And if these movies, if we can find an audience for the movies and get them out there and get them in the theaters, then these are the. Yeah, hold on.
I always kind of bristle against this question about a star system. Like, it seems, when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be like Tom Hanks when I grow up. You know what I mean? And then you realize how much actually is involved in working in this business. I don't know who you idolized when you were a kid, but the notion of a star system, I mean, as long as we can somehow convince Canadians that we're making good stuff up here, that's really what's important. It doesn't matter that there's like famous people. You could not know the names of anybody in any movie you see and still have a great time at the movies. It doesn't have to be some big name above the title. And, I'm just fortunate. We've been fortunate to have a career in this business to be able to work in just film and TV with odd jobs as you sort of get started. So star system. I just think people should know that we're making good stuff out here. So
Wait.
Meredith, if you want to contribute to that or back me up.